Hey guys, I'm gonna tell you today about my first experience with ayahuasca, where basically all of my research with ayahuasca started and how I ended up with the Aftercare Project and wanting to reach out and help people after these experiences. So for my first experience, how it happened is I saw an episode on National Geographic in I think 2011, scared the crap out of me. So I watched it a second time. I was so curious. And then after the second time, I took a deep breath, and then I decided I'm going to go and see what this is about. So I did my research, a lot of research. I just tend to research things. But thankfully I did, because I chose the shaman that was featured on NPR who was speaking about ceremonies and on an educational program. So you would expect for this guy to, educate you when you get there, or, be in good hands. So, and he was a great guy. I show up at his house, and I'm staying in his home. It's myself and local Peruvians. And I didn't even know when the ceremony was going to start. So, and I was on medication that I couldn't take at the time with the ayahuasca. It could have been fatal. Other than that, mental preparation was so important, especially with the next thing I'll tell you. And just letting go of fear, and that's what I did. And I just said, it's just me and Mother Ayahuasca, and I built a relationship there, which was also great because the shaman he wasn't really present. So he was just sort of like whispering with, the locals, and it was just me and the plant. Kind of like lay down in the dark and just be there. So yeah, good thing that I educated myself. I could hear when the ceremony was going to start. He didn't even tell me that. There was no communication. And so I went down for the first ceremony. My intention going in and just trying to build an intention was, how do I get rid of this existential anxiety? And I've struggled with anxiety for a while, and actually standing up here is a little, but it's actually nice. What a great community. So how do I get rid of existential anxiety? I died immediately, first thing. And it was a full-on natural death, maggots and ants eating the flesh off of my bones, and like, a stop-motion camera, just so I'm like watching it just happen really rapidly in the jungle, naturally. And I thought it was beautiful. How else can you die without dying? I don't know, it was a gift. So after that, I had a subjective experience of leaving my body and then looking down, and I could see that it wasn't me maybe that died, because the skeleton, the clean bones, there were black blunt bangs, so maybe I got an experience of someone else's death, but I still got to see what that was like. And it was interesting, very interesting. And then off into the universe. So since I had done so much research before I had tried it, I had read about some things that other people had done during their experiences, and one of those things was visiting family members that had passed on. So I visited my mother and my brother, and it was beautiful. I could see them. They were in this void. There were 2D images, just like really what I had read, so I'm not sure what influenced what, but it's affirming, I believe it. So I could see my mother's face and then my brother's face, and I couldn't communicate with words, but they could let me know sort of telepathically that they're okay and don't worry. So that was cool, super beautiful. And then, so I continued to experiment, and I had read about healing people while you're on ayahuasca, maybe, like somewhere I read that. I don't know where, I don't remember. But I sent these snakes down into my aunt. She's going through a lot, with it physically and mentally. So I thought I could help her on ayahuasca. And I sent all these snakes down and to her spine. I could see where she was sleeping. I was above her. And I could see how she was sleeping, that her leg was over her husband. And I'm just going to break for a second just to continue with that piece, but the next day I asked my aunt and uncle if they remembered anything strange happening around that time, because I had no idea really what time it was. And she remembered nothing because of the medicine that she takes, but the husband said that she had the worst nightmares he's ever seen her have, and she has horrible nightmares, and she hates snakes. So, and I was apologizing as I was sending them in. I was apologizing, but I thought I was doing a good thing. So yeah, worst nightmares ever. But oddly, after that, the uncle, who's a good old boy from, or I guess, wait, we're in Prague. He's, country redneck, United States, doesn't know anything about other cultures really so much. And he had this recurring dream where he would walk into a room and he had a feeling of warmth, which reminds me of ayahuasca. And he would see this, he said, heavy-set Peruvian, or he didn't say Peruvian woman, heavy-set indigenous woman or Indian. And then from the way he described her as more unique in appearance, I thought maybe Peruvian, Indian. And so the dream was only disturbing to him. It was comforting. He would just walk in, she was naked, she was there, he would climb in the bed and go back to sleep, and that was the dream, over and over. But it was only disturbing because it was over and over, even though it was a good dream. And so they asked me to please never do that voodoo SH ever again with the family. So I didn't, and that was really weird and interesting. And then the final thing that I experimented with was, after all the intense visions were over, there was this period of meditation where I could ask questions of the universe or of my psyche or wherever it comes from, and I could audibly hear the answers coming from the left side. So I asked, how can I best help others? And it said, you already know. And I said, I want to ask that question if I already knew, like a magic 8-ball. So then I asked again, and it said, the universe will make it happen. And I just want to say that's what I feel here. And I took that answer, and I see everybody here today, and we're all here for a collective cause, and this is all about helping one another and connecting and purring and keeping the purring going, like good energy. So yeah, basically that's how I got started with the Aftercare Project, was just noticing that there was no communication, and that was such a simple fix. So if we could just have an outreach to the people before they go down to do the ayahuasca, to learn, know before you go, all the risks involved, and, prepare. It's a very, it's like you deserve it. It's such a, it can be so life-changing, and it's really something you should do with intention and respect. And then definitely knowing who your shaman is and, your facilitator for this type of thing. Like, this was a good man, but he wouldn't have known if anything bad happened to me while I was under the influence of ayahuasca, but everything great happened, so that's good. But so that's how I got here today, and just since then, I've just had people reaching out, lost after experiences, needing direction with basically integrating the experience into their life, so making it a practice, maybe what they've learned. But for me, this first experience was, it was life-changing, and that was all I needed, and I feel greedy to even think about, doing any further ayahuasca. I've finished the other 2 retreats, or the other 2 ceremonies that were there, and then I've gone back to find, what I consider an ethical shaman for others. But that's my personal view, or I guess around sustainability too, but also because I received such a beautiful message, the purr of the cats. Yes, thank you guys.